I have spent this week creating my own music kit for CSGO. I consider it to be finished, but please, leave feedback in the comments section, and if people can agree on things, then I may change it. This video is more of a making of. If you just want to listen to the tracks, then my other upload may be more appropriate. The hardest part of it was making it a music kit rather than just a 3 Clicks Phillips greatest hits collection. I went through all of the existing music kits to get a feel for the length that each track had to be, and it turns out they vary immensely. You'd think a 10-second countdown song would be 10 seconds long, but that length is just a bare minimum. Most are longer, with some being more than double that length, and the round start music can range between 4 and 42 seconds in length. That's a lot of music to be played that round. It sounds kind of obvious, but when you're passionate about something, it's easy to envision how you want it to be in your mind instead of what might be best for the project's intended purpose. Most of my favourite songs that I've made are not the ones that you would know, so I had to keep telling myself in this project to prioritise tracks that I have used in my videos, and to preserve them in the state that you're familiar with hearing them in. I made most of these tracks over 10 years ago. I associate most of them with things completely unrelated to CSGO, and some of the tracks have changed drastically from the versions that you hear in my videos. And while I initially planned to make happy sounding tracks for the winning tunes, I soon discovered that all of my songs are sad and depressing, so this music kit will be full of eerie and miserable sounding chords and tunes. 80% of this music kit will be tracks that you know already, and the remaining 20% are for lesser known songs that I've had fun changing to better fit this music kit style, and to make them within acceptable lengths for the track's intended purpose. Let's go through them all one by one. I'll start off with the main menu music, and it had to be the Weapon Showcase music. I'll talk over it here because I'm sure you know this one already. I play this one regularly. For most tracks in this music kit, I've struggled to cut them down to be short enough, but this one's the exception, being considerably shorter than any other music kit's main music theme. This is one track I don't dare touch. I'm not going to artificially extend it. I only wish I made it longer in the first place. A few of the music kits have got more than one main menu track, so I'll try my luck by chucking the Sync-a-Bonk tune in as well, or at least the first 4 minutes or so of it. This is the Back in Time song from the Going Low series over on 2 Clicks Philip, and was made by his dad. And I've broken CSGO tradition with both of these tunes because they fade in peacefully, instead of deafening you the moment you load the game up. This is one of the more experimental tracks, and I hope you find the tune as catchy as I do. When I used to make music, I would sometimes choose a controversial lead instrument and try to make a song around it. This is one of those tracks. Though if I'm honest, I tend to enjoy the outcome of these more than I do with my safer tunes. This is one of those tracks that I couldn't resist featuring in the music kit somewhere, but I figured that it will only play whenever you get MVP, so if you're like me, then you might never hear it. The Choose Team tune is, again, one of my more experimental tracks. It's just coincidence that these are all the first to be showcased in this video. I thought you might find this one interesting though, since it was made for the same game as the Weapon Showcase music you know already, and is probably the closest song in style to it that I've made. Finally, a song you'll know. It's used in my videos to celebrate a case unboxing, and is used in this music kit to celebrate winning the round. So much like the MVP track, you may never even hear it. It's unfortunate that so many versions of the music making program that I use have passed that it lost the original wooey instruments preset, but I remade it as faithfully as I could for this track, just in case you noticed it had changed a bit. If you haven't, then forget I said this. It seemed only fitting that I used the Going Low track for Losing a Round. It's an awkward song for me to use because I never actually finished it. Whenever I've used it in my videos, I try to fade it off before the main tune even begins, but there's no escaping from it now. I had to figure out a way to end it, and settled on something that wouldn't sound out of place in a 90s game show. Fun fact, this music kit contains far fewer chords than it did a few days ago. You see, I like to add more and more stuff to songs, but I forget to take the old stuff away. So if left to my own devices, then my tunes all end up sounding like feedback loops of about 100 different instruments layered on top of each other, each sounding more depressing and dramatic than the last. So to prevent this music kit from making you too sad, I've cut most of this stuff out, but figured that if I could get away with it anywhere, then it would be with the Deathcam track. Luckily for you, this is one track that every other music kit has kept short. so I've been unable to use the longer, even more depressing sounding edition. Most music kits contain a bomb-planted track that's at least 40 seconds long here, which means there's a bit at the end that's never played because the C4 timer is shorter than that. At some point it will transition into the 10-second countdown track, and I'm not sure how that will play out. I'll play the 10-second countdown one now so you can hear what I mean. So how to deal with the transition between these two tracks? Should I keep the tempo of both of these tracks the same to make the transition less jarring, or is the answer to add another sound over the song to smooth the transition out? Which, in my opinion, would also ruin the track. What do you think? If you ask me, Valve plays a part in tailoring the music kits to sound okay, since there aren't any guides about this sort of thing online, and it's such a specific, finely tuned element to the audio that I just don't see how anybody's going to get it right without a degree of customization and fine-tuning on Valve's end. So what can I say? I designed the 10-second countdown to be about 10 seconds long. There's an easily recognisable halfway point at about 5 seconds. So if you reach that point and the diffuse hasn't started, then you know it's time to run. I've received some feedback that the song should continue to build until the moment the bomb goes off, whereas right now it drops off just before the detonation to give you peace as you reflect upon all the mistakes leading up to that point. Which do you prefer? And this is another song that's been timed to be 10 seconds long, but this one ends dramatically. And this is one of those things where I really struggled with deciding on what's best for the music kit. I think this track would make for a great 10-second bomb countdown, but if I used it there then it would be intruding on the case opening song's domain. It's because not as many people know this song that it's been left as the round end countdown, away from everything else. If you look at the existing music kits, you'll see that there isn't a hard limit to how long this track can be. Seems like most like to play over the end of the track for a bit, so there's also the possibility that I could extend this song. So many opportunities. And what better way to end the video than to cover the round start music? These tend to come in pairs, so I present to you pair number 1. It seemed fitting to feature the going low music at the start of the rounds. And for the other two pairs, I've chosen my dad's songs. Here's the first of these pairs. These were chosen because I can't feature a music kit without the Sync and Bonk song in there somewhere, which, up till recently, I would say was the most well-known song in the Click Empire. There's not much adjusting that I can do with these songs since all I have are the original recordings, but I did shorten them slightly and remove some blemishes with editing trickery. And I moved the left and right tracks to be closer to the middle, because otherwise the stereo effect is too strong and I think could be distracting for players to only hear the main tune out of just one of their speakers. I definitely like stereo music, but when it's for an interactive game and when you're wearing a headset turned up high, it might be better to lessen the effect somewhat. And the final pair isn't a pair at all, but rather just an opportunity to feature 2 more of my dad's songs. Do you think these 2 songs are suitable for the start of a round? If so, I have a treat for you. The version of Only the Lonely that I play in my videos was ripped off a particularly badly degraded tape, but I found a better, clearer version that I haven't really used. Let me play it to you and you'll see why. Yeah, it sounds too clear. So what I did was to adjust the song to muffle the higher pitches, but to retain the clarity of the lower ones. So I think this version retains what's good about the song that you know already, only with improved clarity. So there you have it. Even if this music kit never gets featured, this project has in some way helped to improve the music that I play in the rest of my videos. Please, let me know what you think of my music kit, whether or not you'd like to see it featured in the game, and the link to the workshop page for it is in the description. Final things to mention, all this has made me realise that there is no official nor easy way of making a custom music kit for CSGO's workshop. There's practically zero guidance online about how you're meant to go about creating one, which makes me think that the ones featured in CSGO have involved direct communication between Valve and the musicians. Maybe they reach out to people and they're all like, hey, I like your music, can we use it in CSGO please? And there's the possibility of more too. David Randall is working on his own music kit for the game, which I'll also showcase when it's ready. You can check out the link in the description to his SoundCloud so you know which tracks to expect from that. Chances are, if you've watched my videos, then you'll have heard a few of his already. Anyway, I hope this has been interesting, and that my music kit contains the tracks that you wanted to hear. I'll end this video with a few honourable mentions which didn't make the final cut.